Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to talk about a recent Supreme Court decision that you may or may not have heard already that I think is going to be very impactful on the Second Amendment community. Basically, the Supreme Court, in an unanimous decision today, said that police officers do not have the right to enter your home and seize property without a warrant. Now, the way I think this is going to be very beneficial for the gun community, the Second A community, is because I believe the Supreme Court may have just signed the death certificate for a lot of red flag laws as they exist in the United States. Red flag laws count on a police officer acting in a fashion to prevent a crime, to act in service of public safety, and which is odd because they always go to court saying, we have no obligation to protect people. Protecting people and preventing crimes is not our job. And if we don't do that, you can't hold us liable because that's not our job. But then every time they want to violate your rights, they go, well, it's our job to prevent the crimes and it's our job to make the community safe. So they try to have it both ways. I don't understand why the courts keep letting them have it both ways. But this is one step towards not letting them have it both ways. Because it said, like I said, you can't go into a home without a warrant and seize property. And that's basically what red flags are built on. Red flag laws are built on that premise that a cop can go into a home, seize property, not because a crime has been committed, but acting on behalf of public safety or concerns. That is not in any way, in my opinion, constitutional, and also, apparently, according to the Supreme Court, is not constitutional. Unanimous decision. We're not talking split ideologies and one person went one way or the other. We're talking unanimous decision. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say right now, oh, but a lot of red flag laws require them to go in front of a judge and get a warrant. No, they require them to go in front of a judge and have him sign an order, not a warrant. You got to remember, warrants, legally speaking, are issued when there is probable cause that a crime has been committed, and warrants allow search and seizure to obtain evidence of that crime that has already been committed. Orders don't have to do that. Orders can just be anything from, hey, you two got divorced, you're holding her stuff, I'm giving her permission to go in and get her stuff with the police present. That's not a warrant. You're not actually looking to enforce a crime, a penalty on someone for a crime committed. So most red flag laws don't really involve warrants. They just involve a judge or a court official, a commissioner, etc., signing off on a little form that they've written up specifically for red flag laws, saying, okay, the police did get a report and they are enacting this red flag law, whatever that is. So what the Supreme Court is saying now is, if you want to go in and take their property, you're going to have a warrant. And whether this will be applied immediately to red flag laws or whether they will start trying to rewrite them or make special exceptions for them or not, will remain to be seen, or whether they'll just try to pretend this doesn't apply to red flag laws. But I don't see how in the near future they're going to say, these are still liable. The Supreme Court has made it clear you can't go in and take property without a warrant. I don't know how they're going to issue warrants, which are court decrees that police have a right to enter a private property and seize evidence of a crime. Believing someone might commit a crime or might be a danger to themselves, that's still not a crime, and there's no evidence of that crime to be seized. You're purely seizing private property to prevent someone from doing something. That's not what policing is supposed to be. We could stop all drunk driving by just taking away cars, people not having cars. Police wouldn't have the right to do that. You wouldn't say police have a right to sit outside bars and just any car they see, put a boot on it because that person's in the bar. They're drinking. Might commit a crime. They might drive drunk. You wouldn't believe that that was constitutional or legal. So going in and taking someone's guns is just the same thing, just a different kind of application of that line of thinking. And the Supreme Court says you can't go in without a warrant. So how are they going to enforce these red flag laws if they can't go in and seize property without a warrant? How many judges are going to sign a warrant for a red flag law? And here's the thing, if they do start signing warrants for red flag laws, then we'll be able to take them to court for something else, because why are you signing warrants that don't have probable cause of a crime? Maybe you don't need to be a judge. A lot of judges are going to start going, I bet you a lot of judges right now, after seeing this Supreme Court decision, are going to be like, I don't want my fingerprints on anything that might result in illegal seizure. So not signing these things. So we might have made it harder to get a red flag certificate or order as it is, because a lot of judges may decide they don't want to be a part of it. But when judges do decide, okay, I'll sign it still, I'll give you a warrant to go in there. Well, the people who get their property seized, they're going to have a right to contest that warrant. Was that warrant improperly obtained? Was there any evidence of a crime? Was there probable cause of a crime? No. That person hasn't, just because someone goes, that person I think is dangerous or shouldn't have guns, I think they're crazy, that's not reason to go in and seize someone's property. If you think someone is seriously a danger to themselves, there's already things in place to do something about that. You can have a 72 hours involuntary hold placed on someone. The police can take them to a professional who says, well, yes, they are a danger to themselves, and commits them or allows them to commit themselves, or says, no, they are not a present danger to themselves, because at least not due to being mentally unfit. We have to let them go. That's due process right there. These red flag laws are avoiding all that by just going, well, we'll just take your private property, and then you won't be able to commit a crime, even though that person probably wouldn't commit a crime either. And you got to remember, a lot of these red flag laws are just a response from police departments who did not do the jobs they should have done with people who gave obvious signs that they were going to commit crimes. You know, basically spelled it out on the internet, told people they were going to do it, bought the stuff to do it, and the police ignored it. When the police were called out, they could have very easily said, okay, we're going to have this person committed for a 72-hour hold. But they didn't. They just went, it's not worth it, not worth my time, whatever. And then that person commits a crime and they're like, see, we should have been able to do more. No, you shouldn't be able to do more. You should have done what you could have done. So I know a lot of people probably think this ruling has little to do with them. But if you're in the gun community and you believe in police being restricted into doing just their jobs and not ever expanding their powers based on this false premise of they are our protectors, because they are not our protectors, and they will be the first people to tell you that in court. Like I said, except for when they want to expand their power. If you're one of the people who cares about stuff like that, this ruling could be very big, because like I said, this could be the beginning of the end for red flag laws as we know them. All right, now that all that's been said, I want to move on today to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And today I want to talk about a gun I showed everyone that I had purchased just the other day. It's a gun I've owned before. I owned the original version of this gun. This is the FN57. It got abducted. Not like illegally, like someone stole it, abducted. It got kind of claimed by a family member. But I recently bought a new one. This is the Mark II. This is the newer model. And I actually kind of like the looks of this a lot better. I will have to say that. But I got some emails from a couple of different people who said, how can you buy that gun? Isn't it driving you crazy the way they do the serial number on there? And I don't know if you're familiar with these guns, but instead of putting the serial number on the bottom or just engraving it on something, since this is polymer, they actually insert a little plate right here and put the serial number on that, and they do it right on the side of the gun, like I said, instead of doing it under here in the rail like some gun makers do. And it's a little bit of an eyesore. It kind of stands out. So, you know, I admit it doesn't look good. But for those people that are sending me emails saying, how can you buy that gun? And how can you stand that? Isn't that driving you crazy? Isn't it bothering you? Isn't it something you could just can't live with? You know, all that stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, you're not giving my mental health and my emotional health much credit there to think that that would really bother me. And after I say that, I want to say, this is really fucking bothering me. I don't like this at all. I don't like how they did that. I don't know why they didn't put it on the bottom, or at least use a black piece of metal. They know it's going on black polymer or FDE polymer with black controls, so put it on black metal. I have tried to change the color of this to make it black to where it doesn't stand out, and it's not working. I have tried liquid blue for steel, doesn't change it. I have tried Aluma blue in case it's an aluminum plate, Doesn't change it. I've tried a solution that darkens stainless steel. Didn't affect it. In fact, all I've done is polish it up, make it nice and shiny. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to put some Wheeler's Ceramicoat on it. Everyone's seen me use Wheeler's Ceramicoat in the past. It's just basically a ceramic coating, a bake-on finish. I'm going to try it, see how it works, see if it really makes that look better. The only thing I was worried about using a spray-on finish or anything like that is that I'm afraid it would obscure the serial numbers. That's why I haven't just used spray paint, because it would obscure the serial numbers. It's likely to fill in the little engravings. The ceramic coat shouldn't have that problem, especially if I put on light coats and then bake it on. It should adhere to the surfaces very tightly so that you still see the serial numbers very well. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, if you obscure your serial numbers, that's a crime. I'm not obscuring the serial numbers. They'll still be totally visible. If you have a normal metal gun that has serial numbers on it and you re-blue it, as long as they're still visible, you haven't broken any laws. You're not obscuring the serial number. So it should be the same situation here. Once I get it on there, should be able to see the numbers fine. It should just be on a black piece of metal then. So I'm going to take this, put a couple of really thin coats on it, fire it, and we'll see how much of a difference it makes and see if it makes this plate acceptable. Okay, the first thing I'm going to need to do is take it apart here and then tape off the little area here so that I can actually spray it. All right, it's all taped off. Now I just got to go give it a couple of light sprays of the ceramic coat and then put it in the oven at about 200 degrees for, I think, 2 hours, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, it is completed and it looks so much better. Not only does it look better, but the numbers are definitely not obscured. If anything, you can see them better now. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera here, but if you look at it before and after side by side, you can really see the difference. It just, like I said, looks so much better. You don't have that big silver eyesore on the side of the gun. So I'm going to label this a success and say that this little bit of work here on the gun made a big difference and was definitely worth doing. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today with something a little bit different. I want to start a new segment and I want to put out the information for it right now. I want to start featuring adopted pets. If you have adopted a pet, if you're someone in the Second Amendment community, you're someone who carries a gun, don't just send me pictures of what you carry for viewer EDC. And like I say, if you want to be featured on viewer EDC, just send those pictures to shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com and put viewer EDC in the subject line. But also I'd like people to start including the pets they have adopted. If you've got a dog you rescued, a cat you rescued, a squirrel you rescued, I don't care what it is. Send it along with the pictures of your gun, or just send just the pet if you don't want to show your gun. I would love to start featuring people that have adopted animals, because everyone knows this channel, one of the main things it's about is the Second Amendment and taking care of our four-legged friends and our feathered friends and everything else. So if you've adopted a pet and you'd like to be featured, you can either send it in with your viewer EDC, or you can just send a separate email to Shooting Left of Center and in the subject line put rescued pet. And that way I'll be able to see that, put it up on this feature. But just wanted to let everyone know, wanted to do a little different feature here. So if you've got some pictures to send me, please send them in so we can get started. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I'll sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. I think it just got a little better. But what it will be in the future, if we continue to ignore the fearmongers and the profiteers and the people that want to manipulate us, what it will be in the future for those of us that believe in freedom and the Second Amendment, it'll be even better.